A very warm welcome back to the program. You're still watching Financial Markets. My name is Anthony Sebale, and I am your host. The show is proudly brought to you by Altex East Africa. Now, Altex is your #1 private stock exchange, bringing you different stocks. But interestingly, they are now dealers in the bond market. They are licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, which is the regulator of the capital market space in Uganda. And currently now, with their partnership with MTN, you can buy or even sell bonds. This is new on a market where you can transfer money from your mobile money wallet to an exchange and be able to buy bonds. That's so new. I don't know if you have been able to take that in, but Altex East Africa is that brain behind this kind of innovation. And now with their Zabu initiative, which is a new promotion coming in this year, around in the middle of June, around the month of June, they did of course, a launch of this particular initiative where we have people accessing different bonds across East Africa, not only in Uganda, but in Kenya and Tanzania at your best rates. You will find no better rates than Altex East Africa. And these rates, of course, are on the secondary market, so you can buy or even sell. And more interesting of all is the fact that now they have made them so accessible and cheap that starting with 15,000, you can be able to purchase yourself a bond. And so check out Altex East Africa. You can dial *292# on your MTN line if you're an MTN subscriber anyway, and you will be able to enjoy more of that action as well. Now let's get into our last segment and get to see what happened on the markets here in Uganda and in East Africa in general. Well, Uganda Stock Exchange didn't seem very well on this trading day. The stocks continued to decline. Yes, the streets still look bloody, but according to Warren Buffett, that's the best time to go out there and get some stock on yourself. Now, only 4 of the 18 listed companies participated in the trades of Tuesday. And we had about only one gainer, and that was Nation Media Group. Quite a useless thing for us there on the stock exchange. If you know about cross listings in Uganda, you know what I'm talking about here. Most of these cross listings do not move in price based on maybe the demand and supply or activity on the market, but rather different factors from their primary stock exchange do lead to movements here on the stock exchange in Uganda. Well, nevertheless, Nation Media Group came in as a topmost gainer and the only gainer as well, with a 3.48% price appreciation, closing at Nation Media Group at about 516.12 Ugandan shillings on the stock market. And on the losing side, where we had many losers, we had about Centum close with a end of day price depreciation of 1.01%, closing at 257.75 Ugandan shillings per share, followed by Equity Bank lost about 0.5%, and Kenya Airways lost about 0.29%, and Jubilee Holdings lost 0.29% as well. National Insurance Corporation surprisingly came back as a top mover the second day in a row, and National Insurance Corporation had about a volume of 48,000 shares that were traded on the Uganda Stock Exchange, which was the biggest volume for the day. The insurance company was followed by MTN Uganda very closely at 42,275 shares, whereas Stanbic Bank Uganda had about 13,400 shares that were transacted on the market. Uganda Clays had 13,059 after a while of not being actually active on the stock exchange. And those were some of the participants as per the trading of Tuesday, that is yesterday. Regarding the performance of the benchmark index, Again, for starters, index means the aggregate performance tracker, meaning a kind of calculator that gives you the average performance of the stocks, a particular set of stocks that are listed on the stock exchange. And the All Share Index, in the perception of the Uganda Securities Exchange, is the benchmark index because it tracks the average performance of all the 18 listed stocks. And yesterday particularly was not a good day for the All Share Index after it shed off about 3.88 points, which was a 0.31% points, closing at 1,253.67. Now, the stock market is counting a loss of 0.7% in terms of 1 week. If you were watching the stocks last week on, let's see, Monday and Tuesday, we had a pretty bullish market in Uganda. Several companies had very huge volumes. We were here on the show and we tried to analyze and say, oh wow, this was a very wonderful performance, and we can see that it has not been kept up this week. And so we still struggle to get our markets off the ground and see them, of course. So, but these are also opportunities created for you and me as well to get into the market. It is always the best time when things are going down and the figures are in red and the arrows are facing downwards. That's usually a time for you to get in and say, okay, let's go. And usually I know it's really hard and takes a lot of courage, but it is the right move as well. In the 4 weeks performance, that's the 1 month, looking at October, we've lost about 0.58% in the last 1 month performance based on the All Share Index. And the overall year-to-date loss is still currently standing at 11.76%. See, we're losing on the 1 week, in 1 day, in 1 month, and even in year-to-date. That's how bad really it is. And I have to be very honest that it's not a very good time. But that doesn't mean we should shun the market. It means we should get more aggressive. The local company index, which we are used to as being a little bit resilient compared to the All Share Index, because local company index, of course, tracks the aggregate performance of local companies or local stocks, including MTN, Stanbic Bank, National Insurance Corporation, and the like. This particular index fell still by 0.16%, closing at 271.09 points, making it a 1 week loss of 0.17% and a 4 week loss of 0.57% and a year-to-date loss of 16.5%. Well, that's basically the brief data from the Uganda Stock Exchange. Remember, we have 18 companies. We don't have Stanbic Just and Wumeme and Uganda Clays. We have several other companies which you must be interested in. We have British American Tobacco Uganda at only 15,000. We have Bank of Baroda Uganda at 85.0.